What's going on?
Go. Let's go, everybody.
It's a hard hat. They're gonna come off. They're gonna come off.
It's a hard hat night.
The prop
Thursday
is coming
night.
off.
Celtics even up the series here with a dominant performance. John, what are we thinking? How are we feeling? Feeling better than we did after game one.
I mean, it's amazing, right? Because they got all sorts. The news roller coaster from the day. Al goes from doubtful to questionable, so you're like, uh-oh, there's a chance he's gonna play. You find out Derek White is out, and you're like, uh-oh. Well, at least but Marcus is probable, so he's likely gonna play. So you're happy there, but how good is he gonna be? And then Al all of a sudden is in, and you're like, wait a second, that's the starting five, and that's the starting five that never loses to anybody ever.
Right.
Ironically, the starting five wasn't the super key because they were actually better when they went to one big and played a little small, but still you got good Rob minutes. You got
second stint Rob was a
second stint Rob was good. They were better once they had those things, but then the Marcus game, it's the Marcus game. I mean, there's no question about it.
Gonna go down to the Marcus game. As Bobby would say, Celtic lore. It will go
down.
Celtic
lore. We'll be talking about where we were forever.
Where we were in game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
No, but
Marcus Smart put the team on his back.
I mean, you can't have a clearer. A lot of people were doing the whole record without Marcus during the year stuff, and it was, it made a huge difference. But I mean, the entire season turned around when Marcus Smart came back from injury, decided he was going to be the version of him that we saw in the last 35 games of the year, and everything took off from there. They just got connected. They got connected on defense. He slowed things down on offense. And that's what they needed bad. They were so out of sorts last game, both offensively and defensively. They weren't connected, and they just didn't have that guy to kind of stay in control. You saw Miami play Miami played so in control in game 1. Jimmy Butler, nothing seemed forced, nothing seemed rushed. And the Celtics just seemed kind of all over the place, really scattered. And Marcus just came in and just settled it. And that's before he started scoring. He had a bad shooting first half. And he was still one of the best players on the court because he was so important on defense. He was so good distributing the ball, running the offense, getting guys, getting everything organized. So even before he started scoring, he was having a great game. And I think he had a 2 for 11 first half. And then he just started friggin' dropping threes left and right, the over the backboard shot. I mean, just bananas. So, I mean, it was so good. It was such a – and he's not – you saw the warm-up, him walking onto the court. He's limping. Right. He's still not anywhere close to 100%. He plays 40-something minutes, and he's the best player on the court by far.
They asked him, they did the walk-off interview with him. He said that the foot's feeling great, a little bit of pain, but nothing he can't play through. I mean, you didn't notice he was hurt while he was out there playing.
No.
It's the Marcus Smart effect. I mean, he, like you said, John, he wasn't hitting shots to start this game. In fact, a buddy of mine texted me and said, like, only Marcus Smart could, single-handedly drop the team's shooting percentage 15 points. And I was like, dude, are you watching the game? Because it doesn't matter what he's doing on offense right now. He's absolutely preventing the Heat from being a basketball team right now. Jimmy Butler couldn't, they couldn't pick on Pritchard. They couldn't get the switches that they want. He was hounding Butler. I know Butler kind of got things going a little bit in the third, but the Celtics responded. It wasn't that third quarter that, wasn't anything like the third quarter of game 1. The Celtics kept the foot on the gas, and to their credit, they answered whatever the Heat had left. And Marcus Smart was the biggest reason behind that. And you mentioned how they missed that in the first game because he kind of sets the tone, paces them. I think it's kind of funny saying this, but I think he can kind of, I don't want to say calm them down, but I think he does have that ability, him and Horford. And Horford's another guy that came back on the court tonight. Those are the two real veterans of this team. Not to say that Brown and Tatum aren't veterans at this point, because they are, but Smart and Horford, obviously Horford, have been around for a while. And to have them out there, it just gives you that extra element of, not just on the court stuff, but off the court, the mental side of things as well. So pure team effort tonight. Even Grant Williams got it going. He had a rough game 1 and he got hot, had a couple threes to start the game and ended up with 19 points. And we got to mention our guy, Payton Pritchard.
Boston Pea Party. I still think that was the best. I still think that was the best nickname. And
Boston Pea Party from that was born last year on the show. Didn't quite take off, but maybe there's still a second life here.
It should have
back.
A
But listen,
freaking plus 39.
it's been a pee party, man. It's been a pee party. Plus 39 in 20 minutes or something like that. I mean, that's freaking nuts.
Bananas.
I
Yeah.
mean, unreal. Him and who was the other crazy? Well, was it Grant? Him and Grant had unbelievable plus minuses tonight, like upper 30s. So you got to give them their dues. Team effort. No Derek White. Didn't really miss him a whole lot. I hate to say it, but buddy of mine said that maybe Derek White should go on like a 1-month paternity leave.
Here's the
It's
thing.
important to see your kid, so maybe go on a
Here's the
paternity
thing.
leave.
You know, what did we this is what we've always believed. Not always. That's a lie. We didn't always believe it.
Don't
But
lie.
what we came to believe late in the year and I think became evident was that the Celtics fully healthy were extremely difficult to beat.
Totally.
Not just extremely difficult,
Best in the league.
like an entire level above the next tier of competition. They were killing teams. And that's why the Rob injury was so discouraging. That's why any bumps and bruises they've suffered along the way here are so freaking frustrating, because it honestly feels like, and again, injuries are part of this, and Miami's without Kyle Lowry, and PJ Tucker left during the game. So they're down 2 starters too here. So not to make excuses, I can overcome a 30 friggin' point drubbing, but it's part of the game. Everybody goes through it. But you just felt that if it didn't matter, if everybody on every team had all their players, Celtics included, the Celtics were going to win because they were a level above everyone they were playing. And this kind of felt a little like that. And when you do get Derek White back, again, I do think this small lineup against Miami and having guys out there that can move the ball and play defense on their perimeter guys is going to be a frigging nightmare. You're really not worried about anything on the interior from Miami. The Celtics can pester all of their players. They can take Miami out of their rhythm. They can really challenge their shots. You got to, the Jimmy Butler's going to do what Jimmy Butler does, but Celtics both ways. Their defense should be able to stifle them, and offensively they have more firepower just because of the Jays alone. And when other guys contribute like Smart and Pritchard and Grant did tonight, forget about it. So this was awesome. Sherrod's trying to peek in, just letting everybody know at home. Sherrod Blakely, Bobby Manning, Josue Pavon, all in Miami, hanging out. Sherrod just tried to pop in. We'll get him in as soon as he can. And we'll hang out for as long as you guys want us to, honestly, here to talk about an amazing Game 2 victory for tonight. Jimmy, what else stood out to you? And again, I know it'll be the Marcus game, but just differences between obviously, Game 1 and Game 2, what the Celtics did better. Sure.
Well, I mean, obviously they did everything better. First of all, I mean, you know what though, is that third quarter from that Game 1. I'm hoping that was just the exception in this series. And if you look at that game, and you look at this game, the Celtics have played pretty dominant. I don't want to say dominant, but they've clearly, in my opinion, been the better team. I can't explain what happened in that third quarter. I don't know if it was. I don't know what it was. I really can't explain. I don't even want to think about it. But tonight was just a complete effort. I love the way they came out. I love the way that they kept their foot in the gas. And we haven't mentioned Tatum yet, but he had his spurts tonight where he looked like the best player in the court. He had some big shots. He had some threes. And again, that a good response. The one thing I'll say about the Celtics team, they haven't lost 2 in a row yet in the playoffs. They respond. They have been able to respond to adversity or poor performances. They don't carry a poor performance into the next game. They're not down on their luck. They leave it behind. They start fresh. And so far, I mean, now they're 4-0 after losses. So there's something to be said about that. The resolve on this team, a relatively young team, is important in the playoffs because it can be an emotional time. Every game is a peak of your emotions, and to be able to harness that and not let negativity carry over into the games is perfect. What's up, Sherrod?
Sherrod's back in the party zone.
Yeah. What's up, fellas?
Sherrod, you in the club?
The club is me. What are you talking about? I don't have to go anywhere for the club. The club is me. Man, this hell of a game. Hell of a game. Marcus, I tried to kind of, prepare you guys for the Marcus Smart experience in Game 2 after Game 1. This was so much better than I thought. I thought he would play well. I did not anticipate he would play this well. The scoring, it came as the game went along, but his ability to control the pace, control the tempo, organize this team offensively, doing all the little things that we did not see in game one. Like I said, I thought they would win game two, but there's no way in hell anyone could have thought it would have been this emphatic.
Yeah. What's interesting, and again, for everyone out there, Sherrod knows stuff. And Sherrod was very confident. Very confident. Though he didn't state it as a fact, but he was pretty damn certain.
He couldn't, but he wanted to.
Marcus was coming back for game two, so Sherrod knows stuff, and he knew stuff. And, you know, he was pretty confident that not only is Marcus going to play, he was going to be effective. I'm not going to lie. I'm stunned, you know.
Yeah, this is borderline. John, if you were more public with your Marcus Smart takes, it'd be borderline apology, Cam.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, I'm only basing it on, you know, talking to people like Dr. Jess Flynn and people who know stuff. And they're like, even a really mild mid-foot sprain requires a week or two of nothing. Total rest. It's sore as hell. It's hard as hell to do anything on it. If he plays, he's going to be limited and gimpy and in pain. You know, they can shoot him up and he can tough it out, but it'll be hard. It'll be a hard thing for him to do it with such a short turnaround. They had 2 days off between game 7 and game 1 and only 4 days here. So to this, that's such a short runway for him to not only play, but to play this effectively. And then, like I said, you see the video of him that the Celtics themselves released walking into the arena, and he's gimping just you know, his gait looks off, and you're like, oh man. And I was like, all right, he's gonna game it because he's tough as nails, and that's what he's gonna do. And he's crafty and he's wily, and he'll figure out a way. And any Marcus is better than no Marcus. Totally feel that way. But he was.
Did you talk?
I think early it looked like he was a little. Let's feel how it goes.
He was trying. Yes, he was absolutely early on. You could definitely see it.
But as the game went on, I felt like he kind of loosened up instead of the other way around. I was afraid whatever they shoot him up with to start is going to wear off as the game goes on, and he'll start to stiffen. He looked better physically as the game went on, just more agile, a little bit more daring, darting into spaces, all the kind of stuff that you see, the Cobra strike of Oladipo on that play on the sideline and all of those things. Like he just started, he looked exactly like he always looks after looking a teeny bit tentative in the beginning. He was just phenomenal. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I mean the one thing I will say is this: that for a mid-foot sprain, because remember this is the same injury that kept Anthony Davis out damn near all year. But Marcus, my understanding with his particular case, it's not even, I can't even really call it a mild foot sprain. It was something that, again, they're obviously just concerned about it because whenever you have that type of injury, you need to be concerned about it.
Mm-hmm.
But my understanding after game 1 was that there was basically no way in hell that he was not going to play in game 2. And I tried to kind of press, you know, my sources for, you know, what the hell does that really mean? And they said, let me tell you something. There's no way in hell that he's not going to play in game 2. And again, knowing Marcus how I do, there was absolutely no doubt in my mind that he was going to be out there playing. No, and again, did I think he'd play this well? Hell no. There's no way in the world I thought he'd be this effective. But I did think that he could make an impact. And little things that he was able to do that we saw was not happening in game 1. Like when they blitzed Tatum. What did Tatum do? He swung the ball to Marcus, middle of the floor. Marcus eventually got it back to him. He goes to the free throw line. We saw in game 1, that's 2 points the other way. Jimmy Butler cruising in for a dunk. This was maybe the best game Marcus has had in terms of what the team needed from him and him being able to deliver that. He's had better scoring games. He's had better, I think, overall games. But as far as what they needed from him and what he delivered, I don't think he's had a better game in meeting that.
Yeah, this is going to be like when the hockey, you know, let's say like the Bruins season ends and they announce like all the players who have like a laundry list of surgeries. This is going to be Marcus Smart whenever the Celtics season ends. It's going to be like, yeah, Marcus Smart played with a broken ankle, a split spleen, a bruised thigh. It's going to be a laundry list of injuries. But that's the type of guy he is, man. He's hard. No one's ever going to say, you know, you can say whatever you want about Marcus Smart. No one's ever going to say that he doesn't leave it all out there. He doesn't play tough. He doesn't play hard and all that stuff. And that's honestly what you want in, you know, every player wants to play with a guy like that. You know, like those guys are so valuable. They don't have to lead the team in scoring every night. It's just what they do, you know, outside the box score. You know, it's all the 50-50 balls on top of that. But the defense he played tonight, just the ability for him to be able to guard everybody, Sherrod, the fact that they can't, you know, try to target players in the Celtics when he's out there, and the fact that he can, you know, do what he can with Butler and do what he can with, you know, even guys like Bam and you know, whoever, you know, it's so vital to have him in this game. And we all said it after game one. It's like, if it's between Smart and Horford, it's an easy decision. You got to roll with Smart. I mean, he might be the second most important player on the team. I don't want to go down that argument, that hole again, but honestly, this is what he's able to do out there. You can't replicate it, really. I mean, and when he's missing, you saw exactly what happened in that game.
Right. And the other thing, too, is that, you know, the one guy who I thought benefited more than anyone else by Marcus being out there was Tatum. This was one of his most efficient playoff games ever. I mean,
because he didn't have to handle the ball and get
exactly
and have to get this offense going and then get trapped and blitzed and have the whole burden on himself. He's freer when Marcus is out there, no doubt about it.
His focus was more on getting buckets, which is what he does exceptionally well. Marcus's job is to get him the ball. I mean, Marcus, you know, he finished with 12 assists and 1 turnover. One turnover.
And that was on a terrific play where he made a steal and got credited with the turnover because he saved the ball out of bounds and it happened to hit Tatum's foot.
Yeah,
that was barely a turnover. That was an incredible play where he friggin' tried to, I mean, whatever, but he was incredible.
And I wish he could have found one way to get one more damn rebound for the triple-double.
And they kept him out there maybe a couple minutes too long just for that one. He was under the basket, like, you know.
Right. But we've seen coaches, we've seen that before. And we saw Doc Rivers do that with Rondo. When Rondo had that streak where, you know, they were getting, I think it was against Detroit or something like that, where he kept him out there longer just so he can get that.
The rebound's the easy one because you just got to tell everybody, hey, when the shot goes up, just get out of the way.
Right.
You know, that's how Russell Westbrook got like 30 of his triple doubles that first year. He's like, I'm grabbing these. All right, guys. If everything's, you know, all things being equal, I'm going to get this one.
Yeah. Did you guys hit on Grant at all? Yeah.
We went roundabout a little bit, just talking about how, like, you know, and again, say whatever you want in that regard, but it was obvious as soon as the major shift in this game came when they took Rob out and put Grant in, and then the energy shifted, Bam, that was a huge thing. And like, I know, like, it'll sound like it was a slight on Rob, but I really think it was just it was more on the two big lineup. I think they were better when they went to that smaller lineup. And I think that's the way to go. And in fact, honestly, like, even though they have all their guys back, I'm still actually, you know, and Rob's my guy and he's my binky and everything, but I'm still in favor of actually starting Grant and bringing Rob off the bench in this series against this team. But, you know, I guess you've got your starting five that friggin' slaughtered people all year long. So if it ain't broke, but that was a huge turning point when they went there. And then also the Pritchard minutes as well. But those guys in there, Grant and Pritchard, really turned the energy there. And that's in that second quarter.
I just think this is one of those. This is one of those series where I do think Grant has the potential to be a major impact player because of his ability to space the floor. That's the one thing, again, it's no fault of Rob. Rob's a great rim protector, a great rim runner, and Grant is he's a good three-point shooter. He keeps the defense honest. And I thought he did a good job of making the most of his opportunities because you're right. I mean, they did not start to really separate themselves until Grant got it cooking there in the second quarter. And Pritchard had that really big three-pointer that led to.
I'm sorry, not in the second. Late in the first, they turned a 10-point deficit into an 11-point lead there when Rob went out of that game late in the first, and then they kind of extended it into the second and beyond.
Right.
But that was right. That was there. I mean, you're down 10 and you go up 11. That was a remarkable turnaround there. Yeah. And they did it in like 6 minutes. It was like a 21. You talked about 22-2 run in the third quarter last game. The Celtics went 26-7 run in that period there, and it really was sparked by Grant coming in there in place of Rob in that lineup that they had running there.
Grant coming in, and we gotta talk about Mr. First Quarter, Jaylen Brown. I mean, he had 11 or 11 like that in the first quarter.
It felt like he had more. I was shocked when I looked at the box score. I thought he had like 17 that quarter, but it felt 11. Like it's just everything went in.
Yeah.
No, and that's kind of what Jaylen Brown's I don't want to say known for, but I mean, his starts are no secret. This guy comes out guns blazing to set the tone in a way. And yeah, I mean, you kind of, as the game goes on, you almost kind of forget about it because it's like, okay, he kind of cooled off a little bit, but really, starting off that way and getting the Celtics going and, making sure they don't go down big. Remember this team last season? They would go down massively to start games. It was horrible the way, and they'd have to spend the rest of the game trying to claw back, and then they might claw back and then lose by 7, and you'd be like, oh, it wasn't that bad. Well, it was bad. You had to claw back all game, but when you get a guy like Jaylen Brown, kind of setting the tone or getting the guys going or trying to get them sparked, that prevents that situation from happening. So if you talk about the first quarter, you got to kind of give him his dues too.
And he needs to do that, I think, in every game in this series, because the one thing we're all seeing with Jaylen is he's picking up a lot of fouls. And that concerns me because he's kind of putting himself, in the crosshairs of not being able to be on the floor when they need him most in the fourth. But to your point, Jimmy, his ability to get off to a great start is huge for this team. Because Tatum, I really didn't think Tatum was just like kind of asserting himself as a scorer early on. It seemed like he was just kind of feeling the game out and just kind of letting the things kind of go with the flow. But again, that's Jaylen. That's the role that he may need to play in this series. Miss the first quarter and let the rest of the guys kind of fill out the next 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tatum didn't have one of those like nights where he was adamant about scoring and shooting. Really the opposite, to be completely honest. And that was fine. I mean, he let the game kind of come to him, and it just wasn't a night where he needed to play like that. And obviously, the Celtics they controlled a pretty healthy lead for the majority of this game. I mean, they never let the Heat come back into the game. Once they jumped out to that lead at the end of the first, that was it. I mean, it was kind of
one stretch. They got it down to 17 there, where Butler got hot in the third quarter. But right back up. Well, it was you go from
there was like 3 minutes. There was like 3 minutes left in the third quarter. I mean, if they didn't finish that quarter strong, it could have been like
you went 29 to 17 fast, and it was fast because the Celtics completely shut down on offense and defense. So that little surge to get it back, they got it right back to 27, and then it ended up 25. So the lead held exact. But it was important, I think, to stem that right there and stop that bleeding, because if it kept going south and you got to like 12, 13, 14, it's white knuckle time in the fourth, because so that was good. That was good on them. That was one run, and that was the only run Miami had all game. That's pretty friggin' good. That was it, and you erased it quick. So good composure on that. They didn't.
That was when Smart got hot too. Kind of, he started his shot on top of the defense he was playing. So yeah, he kind of had the dagger 3 there, I think, to put the Celtics up.
He had everything, right? Not only the dagger 3s, but the breaking Strus's ankles, which might already be damaged to begin with because he was a game time decision. But that poor dude looked like he broke both his ankles and was like, I have to get up now. He's like, shoot it already, would you?
And Marcus waited for him to get up too. That was the thing. He was just like, you okay, little fella?
And he's on the ground. He's like, are you going to shoot or are you going to make me get up? And he got up.
I think Marcus took a step forward just to check on him, make sure he was okay. And then he
good. And then the Larry Bird over the backboard, was friggin' great too.
Yeah,
that was awesome. That kind of got him going. I think up to that point he was kind of missing a lot.
Oh my God, that stuff was great. Let's bring in Bobby Manning. Bobby Manning in Miami, hanging out. Let's check out the fit. What do we got?
We got Bobby.
Oh, it's a new one today.
Miami Bobby.
Just grabbed it before the game.
Oh, look,
I like this.
Okay.
I like it.
Sleeve button down. I like that. That's very Miami Vice.
He's very Miami today.
Yeah,
This is Sherrod approved. This is Sherrod approved.
Yeah.
One of our commenters suggested it actually, and I went right over and got it. So shout out to whoever commented on the shoot we did this morning.
Who are you wearing?
I can't even think it. It's a Spanish name. I'm usually pretty good with Spanish, but not this word.
We'll work
Someone
on
in the comments will have it because they actually suggested it. It'll pop up here in a minute. But man, what a game!
Yeah,
wow.
What a game!
We will all be talking about where we were on the Marcus Smart game, right, Bobby?
Yeah, that was a special one tonight. Just loading the box score top to bottom. More of a second half pacing effort, I felt like, than an impactful first half effort. He was good in the first half, but he
had 8 assists in the first half, and he just wasn't hitting his shots.
Right, with 0 turnovers, which is
right.
Yeah, you can't beat it. Can't nitpick it. It was amazing. Defensively, saw they locked in. Gave them the ability to switch. Al Horford, awesome, I thought, in his
But
return
wasn't
defensively.
everything just more settled with him out there versus how it looked when at the times, especially at the time when they lost the game there in the third quarter? Hard to complain about the first. And again, such a bad taste in your mouth after their first game. And I know I kind of like chided people who were like, well, they won 3 quarters, but yeah, it doesn't matter when you get knocked the F out in the third. But at the end of the day, it really was a 6-7 minute stretch where they just couldn't settle themselves down. And, just have Marcus is such a calming force out there, both offensively and defensively, keeping everybody connected, but also just having the ball run through him at times, not having all the pressure on Tatum to be the primary ball handler. It's no secret why he had a ton of turnovers last game, because there was just more demand, more pressure, on him to deliver and to do everything. And Marcus just took kind of like eased that burden.
Yeah, they passed really well tonight, top to bottom. I thought Tatum threw some really nice ones. And after that run you talked about there, John, the Heat got into their zone. And we didn't see it at all in game 1. Game 2, they decided to pull it out with that 8-point lead, and the Celtics just tore it apart. You saw their eyes shoot open. Like, we watched this all day on Monday, and now we're going to light it up. And Grant did a great job beating it on the weak side shooting. Tatum got off the ball a little bit there. Marcus had some good passing. Horford got in the high post. They were just ready to tear it apart. And after that, the Celtics went on a 37-10 run. Just dominance through the middle portion of this game. He got lit up in the half court. Offensively, they couldn't get anything going. And now, I don't know if you guys saw, but PJ Tucker getting an MRI on his knee, that's not going to help them. They had to go to Duncan Robinson in the second half to try to get something going, and just wasn't there.
So that's interesting, Bobby, because you mentioned those two. Those are two things I wanted to kind of lump together. Heat goes zone and it blows up in their face, and they play the Duncan Robinson card, hoping to spark them, and it doesn't make a lick of difference. And those are two gimmicks, like you always talk about teams that have to rely on stuff like zone. When you start going into your bench and playing guys who haven't been in your rotation to try to figure stuff out, that's not a great sign. It means you're searching. It means you're not really satisfied with what you have out there and you're trying anything. And I know it's only one game, but between that and the zone, Spoelstra has to go into his bag, and he used up 2 tricks and it didn't do a friggin' thing for you. So what else is next? Are you going to just be able to run out my guys versus your guys if the Celtics are fully healthy and have Derek White back and feel good enough about that? We saw that with Milwaukee. Bud was looking for the right rotations all series long, and he couldn't figure out which lineup to go with, and whichever he went with, you'd be like, but I don't love this and I don't love that, and you're wondering if Miami's going to run into these problems here if the Celtics have all their guys.
And that's a problem.
Go ahead,
He
Sherrod.
feel thin, Sherrod. Yeah, he feel thin right now, especially if they lose Tucker.
Yeah, and the other thing that I thought really stood out in this game was that Ime made some pretty obvious adjustments that Miami couldn't adapt to, like running guys along a baseline rather than just running them. They're actually looking to score. It reminded me of an old Doc Rivers offense where Avery Bradley, that was literally the only way Avery Bradley would score. We saw that with Grant. We saw that with Tatum. And Marcus Smart was against the guy engineering that. That's a wrinkle that for a team that is locked in defensively as Miami, to not be able to stop that when Boston went that, that's a problem. So when you start looking at the adjustments that Miami is going to have to make at the defensive end of the floor, and then you look at the fact that you might not have PJ Tucker and you might have to play Duncan Robinson more, they're in trouble. They're in serious trouble. Especially, and think about it, we played 8 quarters. Celtics have won, I think, pretty clear 6, probably 7 of those 8 quarters.
And that's what we were talking about last game, Sherrod. I know John went crazy a little bit there when I said, they won 3 quarters. But again, you just saw.
Let me ask you this.
Even
did the Heat play the Celtics even for 2 quarters tonight? Because the score says they did, and they certainly did not.
That's not. I'm not even talking about the
I know, but that's what I mean is, like, it was close. It was competitive, even though the Celtics played well in the first half. And during when the Heat came and just destroyed them in the only portion of the game that really mattered, and that really was it. It was competitive. I don't think winning a quarter by 3 points and saying like you're dominating
No,
every
but
quarter.
I'm talking about the first half
Tonight
of
they
game one.
dominated every quarter, even though the scoreboard says they tied in 2 of them because they started with a 25-point at the half and finished with 1 in the game. It wasn't. It was wire to wire domination in this game.
Yeah, but when we're looking at game one, if we stack what was most important, third quarter, obviously most important. First half, Celtics were in pretty good control of that game, even without Smart, even without Horford. Defensively, they were locked in, keep stagnant in the half court. And the fourth quarter was obviously a wash that they won, didn't matter at all. But you saw in that first half that the Celtics could hold down the Heat if they kept them in the half court. Things got out in transition, got a little erratic in that second half, and that's where it really fell apart for the Celtics there. But in this one, you bring back Smart, you bring back Horford, and like I said, coming into this series, I feel like the Celtics have a real upper hand on this team. Like talent-wise, matchup-wise, I think their offense is good enough to not play into what the Heat want to do here, especially with these guys back. And now that you have that starting lineup back that crushed teams in the second half of the season, all 5 of those guys looking good, plus Grant is a pseudo 6th starter, I think you might have a backdoor sweep here. I think you might.
Stop it, Bobby. Stop it.
Bobby, I got to tell
it.
you,
Stop
man,
it.
you are just swinging back and forth,
I
my
said
man.
coming into the series, John, this could be a 5-6 game series.
You also said the Heat scare you, and they're much better than we're giving them credit for. Like, I'm trying to figure out which angle you're playing.
Well,
here.
that's just me holding myself back a little bit there. And then you saw what it looked like without the 2 starters back. But you get those 2 guys back. We talked about this morning, Sherrod, Josue, and I. Like, just a game changer. Array of news entering this day. Smart, looking good, coming back, being himself. Horford jumping right out of the COVID protocol. All of a sudden, you get your starting 5 back, and you just mash teams.
So that's the thing. I think the one thing to really look at is, just straight personnel wise, I would have picked the Celtics in 5 or 6 and not blinked. I was nervous for the 2 things. One, we didn't know how right Rob was. He was a DNP for the last few games, was emergency only in game 7, had no idea what you'd be getting out of him. And while he hasn't been perfect, health-wise, I don't see issues with him right now. And Marcus, I just did not expect you'd see not only him return by game 2, but be this good in such a short period of time coming off that injury, which I guess was considerably milder than even a mild version of this of this injury. So with that, and then with Derek White missing this game, but probably back for the rest of the series, you're fully loaded for the rest of the time here. So I don't know. Like I said, I mean, now again, the Heat are going in the wrong direction. Lowry doesn't seem like he's even close. And who knows if and when he comes back, but those hamstrings are tough, man. And if Tucker goes out, this could go sideways fast for Miami.
From the beginning, I thought this was going to be a 6-game series for Boston. And there's been nothing I've seen so far that leads me to think otherwise. I think Miami will get at least 1 more game. I just think they're that good. They're that tough. And the Celtics, I think, will have an off game. But the Celtics are the better team. I mean, there's just really no – I mean, we can shoot – go all around and look at all the different lineups and the different rotations and all that. Bottom line, the Celtics are a better team from top to bottom than Miami.
Jimmy, you think so?
Yes, I think so. I mean, I think I said Celtics in 7 just because it just felt like it was going to be a dogfight. But now seeing how things are kind of shaking out for the Heat, I just don't think they have the manpower to roll with the Celtics. The Celtics, if they have the starting 5 going strong and going healthy, I don't think that he can contain him. I mean, Jimmy Butler is one guy, and he's a stud. Don't get me wrong. He's going to do everything he can to keep it close. But after him, Bam is not Bam, or Bam isn't who I thought Bam was going to be, I guess, because he's just not the dual threat offensively. Defensively, of course, he's still a force, but
he's not
offensively, man,
aggressive enough.
There's a lot to be.
And he has no game away from the basket either, right. And that's a problem for him. He's not taking you off the dribble, and he's not pulling up. And the Celtics know
6 shot
that.
attempts tonight.
So you're
4 in
worried about
game
only his
1.
verticality and your back line this time versus last time you saw him for an extended period in the bubble 2 years ago isn't Tyson Cantor and rookie Rob anymore. It's Horford and Williams. So you just feel a lot better back there. You're just not worried about anything Bam's going to do.
He's not shooting enough. He's not
good,
shooting
but
enough.
he's not aggressive enough. He doesn't look for his offense. They're not looking for him.
Post up some, just find a way to be aggressive and make himself a threat because he's not at all right now. You're going to shoot. If you're going to be passive, you're just not going to have a good offense as a team there in the half court. I mean, at halftime, they had an 80 offensive rating. It was just dreadful in the half court.
Well, the Celtics have done a good job of taking away the roll. I mean, when he's rolling, there's no room. There's no room to pass because typically the defender on the ball has length over the ball handler, so there's not a clear path to get him the ball. The Celtics defensively have put Miami in a pickle. They can't. Bam's not getting open, and when he does get open, the ball handler can't see him because you've got a Tatum or Jaylen Brown on the ball. That's a problem.
They switched so well tonight. Yeah, and Gabe Vincent was just talking about it.
They switched so well.
So well.
Yeah, we couldn't move the ball.
No, it was incredible.
He said.
They couldn't get in. They couldn't get paint touches. They couldn't get any open threes. Everybody was getting over the screens. It was unbelievable. It was one of those days where on those switches, it felt like the Celtics had 6 guys out there. It was really, really tough for Miami to get anything going on offense. Real quick, we want to mention here while we have you all, once again, our lovely sponsor, HelloFresh. 72% cheaper than dining at a restaurant, my friends.
Wow.
It is good stuff. It's fresh, farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients sent to your home, seasonal recipes delivered. Sherrod, the party guys can't get in on this read. I'm sorry.
Fresh fans in the back, I guess.
It's delivered right to your doorstep.
Went to the club early.
Yeah. Skip the trip to the grocery store and count, guys. I got to get the friggin' readout.
All right, dude.
Jeez Louise. Skip the trips to the grocery store. Count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and Jimmy. You know I'm gonna call on you when I need you to Jimify it. Okay, it's coming.
Yeah,
it's coming.
All right,
it's coming, buddy.
Meatloaf?
Yeah, when it's time for you to talk about the meatloaf and your Indian chicken, I will point to you, buddy.
I love the meatloaf. Love the meatloaf. I am all about the meatloaf.
On top of that, the newest menu releases include Mediterranean recipes filled with fresh fruits, veggies, nuts, olive oils, fiber-packed whole grains, nourishing balance. Customize your favorite dishes with the new Hello custom offerings, swapping out one protein or a side for another, upgrading to a deluxe experience, even adding a protein or a veggie to a meal, supersize it, do whatever you want. You can basically customize this to be exactly what you need. We have all gotten this. Not only did we get our complimentary HelloFresh, but many of us signed up to get another 16 meals sent to our doorstep, which is the deal we have for you. 16 meals. All you have to do is go to HelloFresh.com/playoff16. That's for 16 wins. 16 wins to get to the finals. Jimmy, how many do we need? How many we got right now? Huh?
Now he doesn't want to talk. Now he wants to be silent.
We got 9. We got 9.
Yeah.
We need.
Screwed
7.
that up last time. We tried.
Yes, we did. We did. 16 free meals, 3 free gifts. Come get some, please, guys. Absolutely. Jimmy, we can't hear you. We want to hear about the meatloaf, but we can't get it. We can't get you.
The meatloaf was great. Potatoes, all the sides, and it's again so easy. Everything's packaged. The instructions are right in there. It's
What's
all
up,
good to
Josue?
go. You just rip it open.
What's going on, John? Don't be cutting off Bobby like that, man.
No, it's good.
Keep going, Bobby.
I want to make sure we can hear you.
I think we all agree, man. Meatloaf, that's good stuff. But I like the tacos too. Those pork tacos are amazing. I'll let Josue jump in here. I'm gonna head back over the pressers there and catch some other guys. But let me set the table with this. You know, I like to leave dropping a bomb here. But to me, Celtics starters back in tow.
Are you gonna say the series is over again? Because last time you did, it went really poorly for the other team.
Oh, in reverse.
Yeah, in reverse.
I don't know.
Last time you
sweep.
called the series over, the other team won all the games.
Well, there you go.
That's
you know
true.
what I'm doing. This is over. Do with it what you may. And I don't think the Celtics are going to lose.
Are you
again.
really doing that right now?
You just did it again.
Man.
Yeah.
Mark the
Bobby.
timestamp.
See you guys in a bit.
41:00. Bobby once again declares the series over.
Somebody
After
in
2
one of the-
games.
one of the last YouTube videos in the comments, they said Bobby is such a prisoner of the moment, and I was like, damn, that is such a good way
Yo,
to explain
That's
Bobby.
I can't word it any better than that.
That's what small
perfect.
sample
Who
sizes
said
is.
that?
Yeah,
You're like,
it was a
how can
YouTube
you not like
commenter.
this guy? He's 2 for his last 3 from 3-point land. I'm like,
yeah. Historic. He's shooting at a historic clip.
Again. This isn't like John likes to say. This isn't apology cam worthy, but it's I don't know. It's like you're way one on the other end. And there's no in between. 180
He
Bobby.
swings.
That's what it was. Hashtag 180 Bobby, man. He swings.
flip flopper.
Yeah. It's not apology cam worthy, but yeah, it's what Bobby does. It's what Bobby does, and I don't think this is necessary right now. It's inappropriate. It really is because
What's good, Josue? What's good in Miami, man?
what's going on? Oh man, a lot of things. But let's talk about what happened just now. Game 2. It's happening right now.
Josue, my man. He's
Man,
loving this Miami life.
Listen, Miami's been fun. Hanging out with obviously Bobby in the city has been fun, and Sherrod calling me Pitbull a lot. It's fun. Like it's been playful. It's been great. But the Celtics needed to come correct in this game. They needed to get this win. Head into Boston, send that message, and Marcus Smart did it in the best way possible. And look, I was one of those guys that was also saying, why is Marcus still in this game? This thing is over. But with the way the game 1 panned out, and Ime obviously having a bit of a soft spot here because Marcus plays so well. He left them out there for another 90 seconds so you could try to get that triple-double. It didn't
Absolutely.
happen. But you know what? That's okay because Marcus needed this in a big way, man. Like I just can't imagine as a competitor, for someone like Marcus to sit there through game 1 and that injury, that just a quick turnaround to another series. And he talked about it just now, how being out there and telling guys what's going on and being the guy to keep everyone, focused. It's completely different when he's in uniform compared to when he's on the sidelines. He's like the ins and outs when you're really, losing the way the Celtics were losing in that third quarter in game 1. Some players just don't want to hear you. They just don't. They're just not in the moment to hear you. But when you're in there with these guys in the trenches, man, it's a difference. And we saw that on both ends for the Celtics, right? I mean, Marcus, we know who he is. He's the defensive player of the year. But offensively, just some of these passes, man, like he's really come a long way with his journey as a point guard, man. Like there were so many question marks at the beginning of the season, and this evolution of Marcus at point guard, it just resonated in a big way in this one in game 2, man. What a performance.
And we said earlier, it just settles it down some because they were so out of sorts,
Right.
And again, not for all of it, just for the stretches that mattered. The game got away from them. There was no one to settle it down. Marcus, like I said, keeps them connected defensively and really settled down the offense. So he was amazing. How do you think he looked? How was he moving?
I thought he looked fine. I thought he looked great, especially with the way he was able to stay in front of his guys. What a lot of the possessions, it was Jimmy Butler, the team's best scorer. And he I thought he did a good job. He really kept it. He kept the Celtics defense solid, and then in that second half, man. Oh, actually, before the second half, to jump out to that huge lead. And listen, Miami Heat, they went on their run. We expected that in the third quarter, but the Celtics contained it. They kept it in check. I'm sure some Celtics fans were nervous when it got under 20, just because we've seen this team blow many leads throughout the course of the regular season. But no, man, that was too big of a gap for these guys to blow this time around because just the way they were bouncing back from that game 1 loss. I mean, look, Spoelstra, I think out of all the players that had the media availability between game 1 and game 2. Spoelstra was the only one saying, like, look, this is going to be a really tough game. Like, the Celtics are going to respond in the big way. It's what they do. And, I threw that stat at him saying, look, Celtics 3-0, after losses in the postseason. Is that something you looked at, the way they perform after losses? And, piggyback on that conversation after the game, I asked Spoelstra about the Celtics' approach. And before I can even finish my question, he's just like, the approach? No, it's the execution with these guys. Like, that's how tough they are. And we're going to have to find a way to respond back in game 3 the way they responded here in game 2.
And that was a big part of why Boston won this thing so emphatically, was that they executed at both ends of the floor over and over and over and over again. And some of the things that Spoelstra was able to do in game one that kind of tilted the game's momentum in their favor didn't work. When they try to blitz Tatum near half court, did not work because he got the ball out quickly. And again, Jimmy Butler, he wasn't able to be kind of that free safety lurking around, getting steals and doing all that kind of stuff. They neutralized pretty much every counter that Miami went to in game one that worked. And so now if you're Spoelstra, what are you going to do? Because at this point, it's really not about X's and O's, because there's not a whole lot you've shown them that they haven't seen already, and vice versa. It's about who has a better team, who has a better roster, and who can execute better. They're in trouble. They're in trouble. Not like Bobby, the series is over trouble. Hell no.
Oh, okay. Don't say,
also,
whoa.
It's not like easy. But the
Celtics, what you been doing here in Miami, man?
The Celtics are in good shape, though. They're in good shape going back home.
Al Horford, for what it's worth, and this is something we've kind of guessed at and tried to speculate how things went down with the testing, has revealed that he self-reported, which is something we did not think based off of the fact that he went to shoot around during that morning. But he claims now he self-reported, felt a little off, felt he had to get tested, and did. Sherrod's got a smirk on his face. He's not.
No, Jimmy, I like that. I mean, well, let's
Sherrod is not buying.
That's his. If that's Al's story, then that's the story that's going to stick.
Yo,
that's the story that's going to stick.
We'll get Sherrod's real opinion in a week or so.
I'm not gonna call whatever. If that's what he says. That's what he says. The one thing I find interesting is that Ime said today, he's like, he always felt fine. He always felt fine. He said that like in his press conference.
Al has his story, and that story's gonna stick. I'm gonna leave it right there.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I mean, if you're Al, the last thing you want to do is spread it to your teammates. Like
again.
So
if that's the case, that's fine. But he went to shoot around and was smiling and laughing.
Am I playing devil's advocate? I guess I don't know.
I don't know. All I know is he went to shoot around, but now he says he felt off and had for a day or two. But he went to shoot around and then tested. And he says he self-tested, and again, whatever, so be it. That's Al's story, and as Sherrod said, he's sticking to it. And got the news, blah, 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 was able to test out. Is what it is. But he
beat COVID that quickly. Good for him.
I'm glad he's back. I'm glad Al is back and he's healthy.
I think Al Horford's a 3-time COVID champion.
He is.
3-time survivor. Pretty good.
So, regardless, the fact that he returned this quickly obviously made a huge difference. The fact that he got Marcus Smart back that quickly obviously made a huge difference. And now there's just no reason to believe that you're going to run into any other bumps unless, of course, something else happens unforeseen. But right now, you got the band back together, and that's really all you could hope for at this point in the season. Being anywhere close to full health for anyone is remarkable. And though the Celtics did suffer the issues with Rob at the end of the year and into the Brooklyn series and whatever's gone on with Marcus here in this Horford situation, you're at game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and you've got your entire lineup intact, and that's more than you can say for a lot of people. And again, I want to kind of transition over, the PJ Tucker news, getting an MRI. That doesn't mean anything, but they're concerned enough. And they ruled him out. When you get ruled out instantly, when you go back to the locker room, that's usually not a great thing.
Right.
If you're iffy, it's a questionable to return, and then you kind of do it. But he went back to get looked at. He got ruled out right away. And he's having an MRI tomorrow. That's not great. Again, you've got the Lowry situation. Here's where the Heat have problems. You broke glass in case of emergency, brought Duncan Robinson in the game. The reason he's not playing is you're afraid he's going to get torched on defense. Tyler Hero was a minus freaking 33 tonight in his 20 minutes. I know he's instant offense and he comes in, but
not tonight.
But you thrust him into a starting role, and what does that mean? Peyton Pritchard was picking on Tyler Hero in this game.
They were hunting him. They were hunting
Tyler Hero.
Peyton has not hunted a player probably since they played Oregon State his junior year.
They were hunting him. Peyton Pritchard was, where is that guy at? Let me get at him. And you put him in a starting lineup and get him on switches against Tatum or as a primary defender against Jaylen Brown. Good night. That's not a great situation there. You have to put Duncan Robinson in the starting lineup. They're going to be like, where's Duncan at? That's a problem, you know. And Victor Oladipo's all defensive, all NBA defensive credentials are well past him at this point. So I just don't know what you're going to get if you're missing Tucker out there. He's immensely valuable to them defensively and as a presence out there. So you could have some problems.
Especially with the switching. Like, he's able to guard multiple positions, obviously, that intensity. I mean, look, he gets the guys riled up. And honestly, I feel like if the microscope isn't over Bam Adebayo right now, before the injury, it's definitely going to be now, because his offense, like, they got to find a way to unlock him if you're Miami. I mean, between Al coming back and, you know, the energy shifting, if you will, with this huge win for the Celtics going into Boston, they have to find a way to unlock him. And I think they're going to try to. Supposed to try to, but how the Celtics respond defensively in Game 3, you know, it's going to be really telling to see how comfortable Bam Adebayo is going to be on offense from this point forward, because this is a big spot for him, I think, in both of these games, honestly, in Boston, Games 3 and 4.
He has to step up if they're going to have any shot at getting control of the series over again.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he can do it. I mean, when I look at what he's got to deal with, I mean, you've got to outperform Al and Rob, because they're both going to be and then you got to worry about Grant Williams knocking down threes, because Grant, like most guys off the bench, he's going to be better at home than he is on the road. And so like I said, they're in trouble. Not like Bobby thinks the series is over trouble. It's going to be harder for them to be competitive.
Honestly, I mean, I don't think Bobby's too far off. I don't think Bobby's too far off. I mean, I don't think the series is over, obviously, but I think we'd all be stunned if the Celtics don't advance. I mean, I just think, I don't know. Maybe
I expect them to do that. I think it's a 6-game series. I felt that way at the beginning, and there's nothing I've seen that makes me think otherwise. So
I'm with you, Sherrod. I don't think the Celtics are going to be here for Memorial Day weekend. I think they can get this done in 6. But with that being said,
that's good, because I got plans.
So. That's far from over. I don't think it's going to be a gentleman's sweep.
I also won't be around.
You got plans. I was like, I'm not trying to be Sunday night talking to you fools. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm sure that the Celtics fans are hoping that they're not going to be nervous on Sunday watching a win or go home, you know, Game 7, NBA Finals or nothing. I don't think it'll go that far. But again, this is not going to be a gentleman's sweep. The way Bobby's putting it, the Miami Heat, they're just too tough of a team. They're too experienced. But
I also think we're misusing the gentleman's sweep term, but that's okay.
What do you mean?
That's when you win 3. You win 3 and you give them the 4th, and then you take them out in 5. It's not just a 4-1 win, but that's okay.
So Bobby said backdoor sweep.
Backdoor sweep, yeah.
I don't know what that's all about. That's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's a generational thing. That's a generational thing. I've never heard that one before.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
Sherrod's like, nah.
What is he said that, and I just completely ignored it because he just
said it. I don't know. He obviously has experienced a backdoor sweep before, so I don't know what that means.
I don't even want to go there.
No, backdoor sweep. Backdoor sweep's a term. It absolutely is.
Yeah, backdoor sweep.
Yeah,
backdoor sweep. Leave it at that.
John, that's Bobby's generation. You never heard that. You probably heard that
absolutely. It's exactly what he says it is. You lose one, you lose, and then you friggin' win. You win 4 straight.
It's gotta be a term. Anyways, this thing can go to 6. I wouldn't be shocked if it goes to 6. I'll be really surprised if Celtics win out. If they win out from this point forward, that'd be very impressive.
I have a question for you guys, and this is an honest question. I'm not sure the answer. I know that they are going to now give like the Larry Bird Trophy and the Magic Johnson Trophy to the winner of each conference. That's true, right? Do we know if Larry Bird will be presenting that trophy?
We don't know that for sure, but I would imagine he would be. It would make sense.
Freaking awesome!
At least
the
inaugural.
I just want confirmation he's alive still, and that'll be good enough for me.
Yeah, if we can get Larry Bird back to the TD Garden, the Celtics need to win this in 6.
He was at the Garden, last year or 2 years ago? When was that? But yeah,
John, you got a point. It was a couple years ago, yeah.
But we got in this capacity, though, on the court.
NBA 75, nah. Friggin' retirements, nah. Forget about it.
Nah, man, we got to get Larry Bird back.
But I love how it wasn't even a question for the NBA 75. Everyone's like, yeah, Larry's not gonna go. Like, it's not,
Yeah, right.
like no one was even like, man, let's try to start a petition or something. Everyone's like, no, Larry's just that's not what.
Don't even waste your
not
time.
gonna
He may not even know
Right.
it happened. He doesn't even know that it occurred. He's like, oh, okay.
No one
Cool.
emailed him. And he's like, don't worry about it. Yeah.
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 But yeah, Celtics fans would lose it too. A Larry Bird and a Jim pick, something like that. Oh man, that would be special. Go nuts. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, guys. Let's not. Let's see.
No, we don't.
Let's see how Miami responds first.
If it were to happen. But anyway.
But yeah, look, if Bam Adebayo just gives them something on offense, it would change the complexion of the series, I think. Man, like what happened? Talk about the way these two teams have changed in the past 2 years, but that's one of the bigger ones if you think about it. I mean, going into the series, it was easy to overlook when the Heat, blew out the Celtics in the first round, but I mean in game one, but it's just different when Al's out there. It's different when Marcus is out there. The defense.
That's why, and again, to defend Bobby in the kind of swinging of things, like swinging back and forth, I think it's fair to actually have completely change your opinion after one game, not just because they blew him out, but because you saw the guys, you saw Horford return quick, and you saw Marcus Smart look healthy, and that is stuff that you can project forward into how things will look the rest of the way. And the Heat are now trending in the wrong direction. Everything about this game has to, I don't care who you are and what you thought heading into it. After watching this, you have to feel different because, again, the energy shifted. I mean, it really did when those two guys return. And if Miami's battling injuries now, they're in both teams fully healthy. Celtics, I think, had a good edge, enough edge to win the series, I think, clean. And now if it's tilted in the favor of Boston's fully healthy and Miami's battling injuries, I don't see how. I don't know how they pull it off. I would not be shocked if the Celtics ran off 3 straight. But again, Miami's really good. They can make you play bad, and as good as the Celtics look tonight, they're not shooting 50% from. They're not shooting 50% from 3 every game. So you always feel better about yourself when everything falls. Celtics can play good games and be ice cold shooting. And those are ones where you're kind of stuck in a rock fight against a team that's going to play hard. So Miami's not going anywhere. You just feel better about your personnel versus their personnel right now.
For sure.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Facts, my dog.
Facts, dog.
Man.
And obviously, as someone just
pointed
out, someone just pointed out in the thread, health can change quick too. So whatever you can feel good today, and then friggin' 3 guys go down, and you're like,
of course.
So who knows?
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, because the one thing that we don't know is how will Marcus and Al, or how will Marcus feel tomorrow, or more important, 2 days from now? Is he past this injury? Did he overexert himself? I think he's going to be fine. But again, to your point, I mean, that's where you can't feel too good about your team's health because it literally can change just like that, particularly when you got guys who are coming back from injuries.
Yeah. Oh, one of the things, Bobby, and again,
Harry Giles, by the way. I wonder if he's here for Tatum.
Oh, really? One of the things where Bobby's changed his opinion a bunch of times was when he's down on Miami.
It's who?
Harry Giles.
What's up? Harry Giles or Giles. I always say Giles.
Jay Giles.
to each their own.
Yeah. One of the things Bobby would talk about when he was kind of down on Miami was their offense and their inability to generate it. And we saw it. Now you've seen, this game tonight where outside of Jimmy Butler, really not much going. And you saw a couple of games in Philly, a team that isn't a great defensive team without Joel Embiid playing, them go friggin' ice cold offensively. That does happen to Miami. And when you're playing a team as locked in as the Celtics can be defensively, when they have all their guys out there, again, I don't know how they're going to respond to the Celtics defense with all of their personnel there. And again, you're adding Derek White to the mix, which means those small ball lineups can really be freaking nightmares for Miami.
Well, the problem,
Miami, father, good energy, right? But go ahead, Sherrod.
Yeah, dad's strength.
It's a new ball game for him for sure.
Yeah.
When you look at this Miami team, though, they have a lot of the same problems that the Celtics had in Game 1 as far as who's their organizer. Is it Jimmy? And if Jimmy's the organizer, who's going to be that second, third scorer that he can lean on when he's not scoring? And Jimmy's not. I mean, Jimmy is a decent passer, but he's not like a Marcus Smart like passer where he's making the actual assist. He can make the hockey assist. And Gabe Vincent, he's not a real point guard either. So they're having part of the problems that John mentioned is with their offense is because they don't have guys who can organize that offense with Lowry out of the mix. That was his job. He didn't need to score a bunch of points. He just needed to get guys.
Lowry's important.
He's huge.
Right.
He's huge.
This is a lead by community backcourt right now. And look, to their credit, they've been balling. You know, even before game one, they've held it down. But the Celtics have adjusted, you know, and game one again, not having Marcus Smart out there in the backcourt, you know, this is a tough spot for these guys. There's not a whole lot of experience between Max and Gibson, you know, even though they've been holding it down in the backcourt.
I like Gabe a lot, but it's asking a lot.
Out.
Yeah,
it is. It's asking a lot, and he's delivered. Don't get me wrong, he's delivered in a big way for this team. But it just wasn't enough in this one.
Right. This is a worst case scenario for the Miami Heat to face a team built the way the Celtics are. I mean, the Celtics' strength is their perimeter defenders. Your weakness now without Lowry is your perimeter organizer, a guy that can handle the pressure that the Celtics are going to put on you with their backcourt guys. And I give Gabe a lot of credit. He's played well in this series so far. But we all know that with guys who are traditionally backups, there's going to be a diminishing return on them the longer this thing plays out. Like, he's playing great now, but how's he going to play when you've got an entire building that is screaming their asses off and booing you, and just they are not your friends. Right now you're surrounded by a bunch of friends. That ain't going to be the way it's going to be in Boston.
Yeah.
And so
especially on a Saturday night.
Especially on a Saturday night when folks are going to be lit. You know they're going to be lit before, during, and after the game. Exactly. So
shirts are going to be popping up.
I hope they've melted that garden ice underneath the parquet. You know, at this point, because that'll be.
Oh, it's gone. It's gone now.
They melted that. They didn't have time to last game when they were slipping all over the floor on game 7.
No more clicking and banging and all that noise that happens in the background when Bobby and I are doing our thing.
Yeah.
Oh man, Saturday's going to be epic. People are going to be passing out by the end of that game. Passing out, heat, alcohol.
The game's gonna start like 9. Yeah.
Turn off the AC in the Heat locker room. Do it old school.
Yeah, there you go.
Do it old school.
Yeah.
Do it red style.
Put the heat on the heat. I got you, John. I got you.
I like it.
What's the weather in Miami?
A couple years ago.
You guys been getting some sun out down there? Come on.
Now we working, Jimmy. What you mean? I mean,
the report. You've been working.
The report that Bobby and I did from the beach. That was pretty cool. Come on, that was the guard report debut.
You've been working on something. I don't know what, but you've been working on
South
something.
Beach debut.
I like it.
You guys do HelloFresh yet? Or?
We tried.
Yeah, we did. You know what?
That was you need to take the clip from me, Sherrod, and Bobby that we did today, and that's gotta be one of the better reads we've ever done. Like, you just send that to HelloFresh and be like, "This is what we're doing over here. Like, this is
renewal.
We're loving. Exactly.
Yeah, that'll do it.
We love renewals.
Renewals, guys, help us out. I'll give you one more shout out. If you don't want to deal with grocery shopping and all the food prep, get yourself some HelloFresh. Go to HelloFresh.com/playoff16. Use the code playoff16 up to 16 free meals. It's still
free
active.
Meals, people. Come on.
Yep. Go get it. Fresh farm fresh food delivered to your door. A whole series of customizable options.
Meatloaf.
It's all about the meatloaf. Yeah.
In a year, I swear, HelloFresh will come out with a Sherrod's meatloaf or some shit.
Yeah, they will.
Dude. And what pisses me off about that though is like meatloaf is like my specialty. Meatloaf is the one thing meatloaf is the one thing I can absolutely kill when it comes to being in the kitchen. But their meatloaf is pretty damn good. I still think mine's is the shit. But theirs is really, really good. Theirs is really good.
Why is that the only? I bet you can do more than just meatloaf, bro. Come on.
That's the one. That's the. I mean, like when you look, Josue, when you talk to my son Isaiah and ask him what does your dad cook that's really good, 90. I bet you 10. I'll bet you he'll say meatloaf.
Okay.
All
So
right,
then,
all right.
so then, what you say about HelloFresh meatloaf? That's
It's
we're talking
really
to a pro
good.
here.
It's
Yeah.
really good. That's what I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
they make
Knows
a
meatloaf.
really good.
Man knows meatloaf.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I had Indian style chicken, which was delightful. A little curry on there, a little kick to it.
That one I gotta
Had
try.
the
You were
aroma
talking about
going,
the other
and
day.
the house was, like it was.
That's some
solid.
good stuff. That's some
Yeah, it
good
was
stuff,
solid. I
Jimmy.
gotta say. But I'm gonna need to see those expense reports from Josue and Bobby because what I'm hearing, I may need to get to Game 5. I might need to get to Game 5, man. I've been doing some investigating. So
All right, head on down. Head on down.
yeah,
I'll be the only one here. That's fine.
yeah, that's okay. You wouldn't
Nah, man,
survive
this
a night
thing-
in Miami, I don't think anymore, John.
I don't think so.
If this thing goes to Memorial Day weekend, man,
That wasn't my
that would
scene
be
when
the-
I was 25. Yeah.
if this thing goes to Memorial Day weekend, man, that would be because win or lose. I mean, you got Memorial Day. Sherrod, you're not getting that flight for Monday morning after Game 7.
Stop.
No way, you're chilling. Don't act like you're gonna leave after Game 7 when there's a holiday weekend. And whether the Celtics going to the NBA Finals or not.
That would be
even going to NBA Finals, that's a week away.
That'd
You
be
get an extra day.
That'd be fiscally
Extra day in the
irresponsible.
sun.
You don't want to take a flight on Memorial Day weekend. You got to stay a couple days and wait for those prices to drop a little bit.
Oh, that's how that's gonna go. Okay.
Yeah.
That's your game plan. That's your scam. I mean, game plan. Okay.
Yeah, that's just being fiscally responsible.
That's just scam.
Stay a couple days, wait for prices to drop. Hit up a couple clubs. Bronze the thighs a bit. I gotta get some color. Look at me over here. It's the light though. It's the lighting.
Just blame the light.
Well, you'll have Saturday. Yeah,
plus
you'll have Saturday, Jimmy. You'll be in the sun all day Saturday. Hop on.
I'm thinking pool day on Sunday. I'm thinking pool day.
Come on, Miami. Make this a 7-game series.
You want me to set
Let's
you
go,
guys up
Heat.
for some basketball talk, or you want to keep going with this?
Oh, we're still
I was
talking
gonna
about
say,
basketball?
give me.
I was
game
just
7.
letting you
Come
go.
on. I want a 20-20 game from Bam Adebayo. All right, let's pretend we're in the bubble all over again, and he's an actual threat on offense.
I don't.
Give me Game 7.
I don't want that. I kind of like what he's doing right now. I'm good with what he's doing right now.
I don't know. Josue's got a little pep in his step, a little hop in his voice.
No,
He's in Florida. I think Josue's a Miami guy.
Sherrod's looking ahead. He wants to go out west. He's ready for the finals. He's like, let's wrap this thing up.
Yeah, a little Oakland.
Both teams play hard.
Are we still talking about meatloaf? I just stopped.
We're on to
John's like,
I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for John to just give us the wrap. That's what I'm waiting for.
I was gonna give Bobby a chance to come back in and be excited about something,
He's interviewing Struce, the art of an ankle break right now. How to fall gracefully when you get your ankle snapped.
I want 3,000 words on Neesmith's 12 seconds in the first half.
Yeah.
When he came in defensively, he's like, I'm in the game, and then it was like honk, and then Tatum came right back.
It was so funny because Bobby sent out that tweet was like, I just had dinner with Sherrod, and I told him that Neesmith.
Yes.
Oh man, he did do that.
Wait, what?
I didn't even finish reading the tweet until I saw him back on the bench.
And Neesmith's like,
yeah.
I was like, why did you do this, Bobby?
Then
I know what you're talking
the
about.
first half
hold on.
Neesmith minutes.
All jokes aside, though, that story's gonna be fire though. That Max story gonna be fire because it's. I mean, I guess it's not amazing because NBA players aren't in the know, so to speak, with people's backgrounds, but a lot of players don't know that he was cut by the Celtics. Like it's Bobby's onto something there, but that was funny.
It's fun. It's funny actually. They're like,
that
what?
was a funny quote from Ime pregame. He wasn't even here for that, and he's like,
"Oh, that was a
screwed
good
up
one,
with that one."
Yeah, he's like, "I wasn't here for that." He's like,
I love when Ime.
in other words, I wouldn't have cut him. I felt like he was trying to say, I wouldn't have cut that guy. But,
yeah,
we missed out on that one, is what he said. But
right.
Struce wasn't great tonight. Missed a lot of open shots.
Well, they said before the game, right?
By Marcus.
He had the
Yeah, he
test
did.
out. He had the test out to see if he could play. So there's something not right with him. He didn't look great physically.
He was questionable for game 1 too when he
Yeah.
played. But yeah, they've been on the injured list for a while. I believe Tucker was as well. I'm not sure
Tucker
with
was
what,
too.
but they had a group of guys who were in that. I believe Vincent too. So they're a banged up group for sure. They've been that way for a little while. They've overcome it with guys stepping up in the bigger roles. That's the story of their season. But playoffs, the story becomes how many guys can you play? How many guys can you survive? Right now, the Celtics have 7 guys. 8 depending on what White looks like when he comes back, rolling right now. And the Heat have what? We count it off. It's like Bam, Jimmy, Hero's giving them good minutes, and 1 or 2 other guys some nights, and Strus.
But Hero's getting torched when he's out there.
But that's it. Those are like your guys you can rely on. Deadman gives you a little something, but as deep as they look coming into this, they're thin with all these injuries. And the Celtics, Pritchard's out of nowhere again, and Josue, to his credit, said tonight's another night that you can lean in on Pritchard. He gives them some shooting, some scoring there, and again, like this, John, we've watched a lot of championship teams in Boston over the years, and you know what it feels like when you're in it. They just respond. They keep surprising you. More guys keep stepping up, like Pritchard, like Grant, like Smart, with miraculous performances that raise the team's level on any given night. This feels like a championship team to me. It does. Like, this feels like that's where this is headed. If they stay healthy, if they don't get stagnant in certain quarters and blow games like they have at points here, they're walking the edge, but they're right there with anybody. And again, now that they're healthy, I think you got to consider them favorites to do it. And yeah, I just love where they're at. I love what they look like right now. And I love this matchup for them. I did all the way coming in, and it's going to turn back to Boston now. And you could potentially be coming back to Miami if you take care of business. 3-1 lead. I'm getting ahead of myself here. I really am.
Yeah, I'm gonna reading Sherrod's face. I'm gonna ask him to talk next.
Okay.
I know what.
I feel that the Celtics are in control of the series, but I'm not going to even go there and just say that this thing is pretty much a wrap because, again, this is a very mentally tough Miami Heat team. And I'm not
Yeah.
and the one thing that I know this time of year, even if you're banged up, even if you're shorthanded, you're still, if your mental toughness is at an elite level, which I think theirs is, I'm not going to assume that they're just going to roll over and play dead. And I'm not going to assume that even if you are as good as Boston has been, that you're just going to roll over them. Miami is not going to go away. They're just not. And the Celtics, even though on paper the Celtics look better than them, health-wise, the Celtics are in better shape. Celtics have home court advantage now. I'm not going to disrespect this Miami Heat team. To me, they're like that. They're a cockroach that is not going to go away until you kill it. You may be 10, 20, 40, 100 times bigger than them, have every advantage. You have to kill them before they're going to go away. And that just hasn't happened yet. You got to take care of business in game 3. Take care of business in game 4. And then we can start seriously thinking about putting them away. But right now, all you've done is snatch home court advantage with at least 3 more games to play.
With a 34-point lead in this game. And I know it doesn't add up in the next game, but this
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, so
it's like what Bam said, man. It counts as one. It just counts as one loss. You know, it's the first. Oh, he said no. It's the first of 4. You know, this is one, and it's the first of 4 wins. You know, so yeah, I'm with you, Sherrod. But the Celtics did what they had to. You know, with their backs against the wall, so it's good. But let's see what happens when they head back home. They got to take care of that.
They have to take care of home, absolutely. And they do that.
Right.
Then we can start seriously looking at the next round, and we can look at them putting these guys away. But 1-1, no, because all they got to do is still win in Boston. And damn, they're back in control of the series.
the thing,
again,
someone
this
said
is
Miami.
just how I felt. This is how I felt coming in, and again, the chat's getting on me like I'm flip-flopping here. I said coming into this series, this could be a 5-6 game series in Boston.
You did say that,
so
I'll give you that.
Like, I love this matchup for them. I love the way they defend this group, and if you keep it in the half court, the Heat are really going to have a lot of trouble scoring. They just are. They don't have a lot of shooting. They don't have a lot of just creators off the dribble who can get inside and beat these big men here. We talk about, as Sherrod said there, the issues Bam has against this defense. And Butler, credit him. he put in work in that third quarter tonight and really made up ground fast. But they had already put themselves behind so far at that point. And as great as he is, he's not a guy that can hit threes. So you go down like that, and he's not going to be able to work you back himself.
Yeah.
And one of the low-key things that the Celtics did really, really well in the first half was turnovers. They had 4 in the entire first half. And so
that's the key to this series, Sherrod.
It is.
Tatum had 1.
Because that doesn't allow Miami to get out and run. And if they can't get out and run and get easy baskets, as Bobby pointed out, they struggle in a half court because they don't have an organizer. And so if you're the Celtics, if you have low turnover games, you're gonna control this series and end it fairly quickly. But again, Miami's defense, I think they're going to have at least one more game where they're going to, I think, force a lot of turnovers and get a W.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting too. Because Spoelstra was asked about Kyle Lowry, where he is in his progression and trying to come back, and he kind of just like scoffed. He was just like, dude, I'm not even thinking about that right now. Like, I'm just trying to get a win without him, heading into Boston. And I think it spoke volumes as to where he is in his recovery. Maybe that doesn't mean he's out for the entire series, but I just think heading into Boston for games 3 and 4, I don't think Spoelstra is crossing his fingers on that one. He's trying to figure this thing out without Lowry.
Yeah, there's a difference.
That doesn't help. Yeah, Lowry's got a lot of miles in there. That's true.
There's a difference between Brown at 25 bouncing back from these hamstring things that Lowry at 36, 37.
Yeah, that hammy is no joke.
Bobby, what'd you get from Tatum? Anything good?
Not a ton from Tatum. He was talking about their resiliency, that being the difference between the bad Celtics teams that they've had during his career and the good ones, the way they've bounced back, especially from the bad losses. You said, Jimmy, 3-0 after losses, now 4-0 after losses. But Al spoke as well tonight and did clarify that he went and got a test after not feeling well. So I don't know, we're still sort of parsing and figuring out what happened there, going into COVID protocol for 2 days. But again, he thanked the Lord that he was able to get back out there. And Abby with a funny question saying, you were in that dark room, third quarter. What was it like watching that? And I was just like, I wasn't in a dark room.
Yeah, it's not a concussion.
Yeah, no, he was in a padded wall.
He was definitely thinking about concussion.
Yeah, that's the dark room.
It probably felt pretty dark though in that third quarter.
She was like,
"No, man, I just sat. I was watching her in the friggin'.
I was watching it on my 72-inch TV. What are you talking about?"
He's actually in a pretty awesome suite in one of the nicer hotels in Miami.
That's when you drop the. I'm in dark place. When you're in a dark place.
Yeah,
I think that's what she was getting at.
That's definitely it.
No, that's not what you meant. Yeah.
It's fine. Again, we talked about that. There's some people here are a little dubious, but that's fine. Doesn't matter. He's back. He's playing. Marcus is back. He's playing. Derek White, we're hoping for good health for everyone involved. He's out for personal reasons.
Second Hendricks. He followed Rob's lead.
We think he's going home to give birth to his first child, and that's why he missed the game. So hopefully he'll be back as well. There's no rest here. It's every other day. So we are back again on Friday in Boston for game 3, right?
Saturday.
Sorry. Saturday for game 3.
That'd be a heck of a turnaround.
It's Friday now.
It is Friday. Sorry, I'm a day off.
Saturday
for game 3. Everyone will be hanging out. Yep.
For me, the day doesn't end until I go to sleep. But okay.
Exactly. And they're all 8:30 starts. So we'll be doing this late into the evening as well. I'm not going to ask for final thoughts. We're going to go off the rails. I think we've said all we can say. So we are going to wrap it. Unless, Bobby, you're late to the party here. Do you have anything last to say?
Bobby gets to close us out. All right, Bobby.
We went on to Meatloaf and South Beach, and we went to dark rooms and dark places when you weren't here.
One more thing out of this, I guess as Josue said when I was coming on, I did get to talk to Max Strus one-on-one for a good while today. So look up for that. Boston Sports Journal, Saturday. He's coming. And then the Zone. Got
Shameless plug.
Media.
I love it.
I mean, this is our content here. CLNS Media got something on the Zone breaking from the Celtics tonight coming.
Isn't that refreshing though? After watching them, watching their brains just snap, trying to face this really generic Zone, just to see them light up and be like, "Oh my God, we're gonna absolutely."
Ime had a great quote on it.
They're
Ime
all
had a
grown
great
up
quote
now.
on it after. He was like,
They're all grown up now.
everyone loved
What'd he
this quote
say?
on Twitter. Ime was just like, we were ready for that.
The Struce report coming up.
You know, Ime and his coaching staff are watching those games. Like, look at these dudes struggling. Like watching the 2020 games. Like, look what they're doing wrong out there.
They're
I
gonna go
love
zone.
You guys ready for
I
the
love
slideshow?
Ime's
Come on in, guys.
deadpan
Come on in
delivery.
here.
Isn't that adorable?
Everything's just so simple and straightforward for Ime. He exudes that confidence, and it carries through. I mean, some people do that and they don't follow through with it. Ime, he says something's going to happen, and it happens. It's unreal.
Right.
I love Ime.
Yeah,
That's
he was
right.
on point today. Just the way he had them settled, called timeouts.
Yeah.
A couple times when he's like, "Nope, don't
Yeah.
like it, don't like it, don't like it." Let's
What
pull
a
it together.
hire. I
you
mean,
know?
we'll look back on it after this season, but remember early on, we were like this guy hasn't coached before, and we were waiting to see what he was all about, and you just couldn't imagine a more perfect hire for this team. And Spoelstra actually said they had some history, obviously, in the finals there, but going back and forth when Ime was with the Spurs, and they had crossed paths over the Olympics this summer, and he was like, people in the coaching world thought this guy should have been hired 10 years ago. Like, it was obvious to us, and he just didn't have the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, he came in with confidence. Like, I know how to do this. I know how to fix it. What we were worried about in the beginning was same old shit that basically submarine Brad. And Brad was a good coach, and they ate him alive.
Right.
And he couldn't get through anymore. And whatever Brad was doing wasn't working. And Ime, who came in with his different style and different brand and things that he thought he could get out of these guys, they didn't listen. And once they started doing what Ime wanted them to do, boom,
I just remember saying, look, if Ime isn't the guy, then this thing is just not going to work between Tatum and Brown.
It's broken. It's broken.
Like verbatim. I remember saying that back in like December. I was like, not only do you guys have experience with this coach, not only did you guys pretty much handpick this coach. Yeah, exactly.
Right,
and it's like, getting out of those bad habits obviously took longer than we expected, but it was like, all right, if this guy again, if he isn't it by the end of the season, then they had to really start thinking about the core of this team and breaking it up. But all that is in the rear view at this
Some
point.
people still are thinking about the core of this team.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
We're gonna call it a night.
What do you mean?
Shut it down, John. Hit the button.
Shut it to Bobby. End the stream. Bobby, end the stream.
I missed that one.
We're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna go Saturday. We are back, all five of us here on the Struce Report, live after the game. We will see you guys then. Check out Bobby's stuff. Check out Josue's
subscribe to BSJ.
Subscribe to BSJ, Full Court Press, Bulletin.com, and CLNS Media for all our late stuff. Josue, Bobby, hang tight. I'm going to talk to you about some stuff we got to do from the arena. But the rest of you guys, thank you for hanging. We still got thousands here hanging out in the chat.
Millions.
Thank you guys as always. We appreciate you hanging
subscribe
out.
To the Cedric Maxwell podcast while you're
Cedric
at it.
Maxwell podcast, Sherrod Blakely A-List podcast, Dome Theory podcast. Every podcast, our YouTube
Jimmy
channels, the Jimmy John podcast,
Still in the works.
Still under construction, huh?
Under construction.
This is quite a build-up, guys.
Nick won't let us do it. He won't. We've been begging him. He won't let us do it.
Yeah, DM Nick.
Yeah.
Tell him you want Jimmy John podcast.
He won't. No,
There's like no free sponsors for Jimmy John, guys.
He's like, enough Zannis. I've had it.
That we can all get behind.
enough. I don't want any more.
Anyway, no, Zannis is doing spots on other podcasts too, but we'll talk about that another time.
Those are good guys, man.
Yeah, that was good. I like that.
Good guys. Really good guys. It was fun hanging out with those guys. They jump in on the show. They jump in on Slack too. Pro Sports, is it Pro Fan Sports?
Yes. Shout out to them.
Check out their podcast, guys. Two good guys, local guys, talk about Boston sports. Really fun. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out. We will see you on Saturday. Good night.